Hello, my name is Greg Sperling, and I consider myself somewhat of a professional student. I've been in college since age 29. I'm 34 now, about to graduate from a vocational program with a 4.0 GPA, 3.82 GPA in my undergraduate studies. And you know, Kermit the Frog was known to sing, "It's not easy being green." Being green has come to mean being environmentally sound. Well, I'm here to tell you that a college student can be green, and it is actually relatively easy. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you can purchase from a technology aspect, and then applications that you can use with that technology, and then we can put it all together, and I'm going to tell you how. So first, my suggestion is to utilize the Apple iPad. The number of applications available for it are plenty, and the accessories and other accoutrements are rather available for the iPad. They come in 3 different models at present, 16 gig, 32 gig, and 64 gig, relating to the size of the iPad's memory, and they're priced $499, $599, and $699. You can add cellular data to the model. You have to purchase that at the time that you buy the iPad, and that adds an extra $129 to your chosen model. And then, of course, there's a data plan that you have to pay for in addition, somewhere around $25 to $35 a month, depending on how much data you use. I don't recommend students going right for the least expensive iPad, the 16 gig model. They tend to fill up rather quickly, especially after you've been using it for a while, have a lot of data, have a lot of applications, and then you're frustrated with a device that you're scurrying to delete applications and data from. So I recommend sticking with 32 gig or higher. Another device that we're going to talk about today is the Doxy Go. It's priced at $199, and it's a portable, battery-operated scanner. More on that later. The iFi, EYE-FI Connect X2. It's a secure digital or SDHC card, and they start at $39.99 and go up from there with capacity, 4 gig, 8 gig, 16 gig, so on. Amazon has them a little bit cheaper, $30, $40, and so on. I recommend a stylus for your iPad. I'll speak a little bit more about that later. And then finally, a Bluetooth keyboard. The iPad is, of course, a versatile multi-touch screen, but having an external Bluetooth keyboard makes things just a little bit easier, especially when it comes to typing a 5-page or more paper. To speak a little bit about the applications that I've used over the past 5 years, I'm going to start with what's called iStudiez Pro. That's iStudiez Pro. Available for the iPad, and it costs $3 on the iOS App Store. And if you have a laptop, such as a Mac computer, it's $5 on the Mac App Store. The suite of applications known as Pages, Numbers, and Keynote are excellent apps for the iPad that assist with word processing, number crunching, and presentations. The number crunching and presentations really aren't ones that I've necessarily used in my college career, but Pages is definitely essential. That one costs $10. The Note Taker HD application, $5 on the iOS App Store, is one of the most handy applications because you can essentially eliminate your pen and paper notebook and instead use the iPad with your stylus that I mentioned earlier. Note Taker HD is an application that you can use to either handwrite with your stylus, or you can use your Bluetooth keyboard or the iPad's built-in keyboard and take notes as you go along in your classes. It also has many different templates. It has stamps and other features that are really useful to a college student. There are other applications aside from Note Taker HD. One is Penultimate, and the other is Evernote, They all essentially do the same thing. They have varying costs and prices, but my favorite has been NoteTaker HD. There's also a photo to PDF converter application. It's about $3 on the iOS App Store. This application is used for converting JPEGs that you scan with your Doxy Go and turning them into a PDF. I'll speak a little bit about that later. And then, as far as applications, SugarSync, available at sugarsync.com, is more of a cloud storage application. It starts at about $7.50 a month for 60 gigs worth of storage, and it allows you to send and receive information to and from the cloud, store it there, and also share it with colleagues, professors, and friends alike. After you've finished working on your part of a group project, it's nice to be able to share it with the rest of your team. SugarSync is excellent for that. So to put it all together, as I had alluded to earlier, taking notes directly on the iPad using the NoteTaker HD application and your stylus is extremely handy. It takes a little bit to get used to, but NoteTaker HD has an excellent function where you can actually set it to ignore the lower half or a specific point in the iPad itself. So for example, if I take my iPad here and imagine holding my stylus, when you rest your hand on anything, you would essentially activate that portion of the screen. NoteTaker HD has the ability to ignore your hand below where you're actually writing. That makes it very handy for taking notes. The stylus is essential to taking notes because otherwise you'd have to use your finger and it's a little awkward to do it that way. The NoteTaker HD application will allow you to organize your notes in folders, and you can name those folders by semester, and then by class, and then by particular project. So you can drill down as far as you'd need to. The iStudies Pro application that I mentioned before is extremely useful for mapping out your schedule, all of your classes, and then labs and discussion sections, as well as tests and final exams. It can remind you of these things, as well as allow you to enter all of your assignments into the application and set a reminder as to how many days before it's due you want to be notified about it. And you'll get the little badge icon on the application to remind you of how many things you have to do. iStudies Pro is excellent because it also allows you to track your grades. So as you get assignments back, you can enter what the score that you received on the assignment was, and it will track your GPA for you along your college career. As I mentioned before, Pages, Keynote, and Numbers are excellent for writing and doing other types of projects. Keynote is good for delivering presentations. You can design them right on the iPad. And Numbers is good not only for spreadsheet type applications, but you can also use it to format specific designed projects. You can lay things out in such a way that they're formatted appropriately, and even though they're not numbers, the application will do a fantastic job of making things look aesthetically pleasing for you, and all from the iPad. As the semester progresses and you get your papers handed back to you or you exchange papers with colleagues, those papers need to go somewhere. Something needs to happen with them. Not everybody else is green yet. So I mentioned before about the Doxy Go scanner. This is what the Doxy Go scanner looks like. It operates on an internal battery and it's rechargeable. You can recharge it using a standard older model cell phone charger. It's called a mini USB adapter, and it also has the capability of using the SDHC card. So you can store images on the same type of card that your digital camera uses, or as I mentioned before, you can purchase the the iFi SD card. And that SD card is actually wireless. So as you scan things in on your Doxy scanner, they're sent wirelessly to the iFi service, and then there's a free application available on the iPad that will transfer them from the iFi service into your iPad. Now, those come in as JPEGs, so that's why I mentioned before the photo to PDF converter application, And that allows you to convert those JPEG images over to a PDF, where they're a little bit more user-friendly across platforms. The SugarSync application, as I mentioned before, is excellent for taking those PDFs that you've scanned and converted and storing them in folders, again, by semester and class and project. And you can email or you can share those folders with your classmates and colleagues. They can then have either read-only access or add and edit access. So if you're collaborating on a project, they can work with you, they can add files, they can make changes, so on and so forth. So in closing, all of these items of technology are excellent for being a green college student.